All right, talking to Mike Kearby from Lomita, Texas, a town of 300 people. He is the winner of our short screenplay contest titled Men of Color. How's it going, Mike?
Very good. Good to talk to you, Matthew.
Can I ask if all 300 people have watched the video of your short script online?
Actually, most of them don't even have the internet.
Okay. So I guess our contest isn't worthy of Lomita, Texas, except for yourself.
Well, I wouldn't say that, but I would say that it's just kind of a laid-back community.
So tell us about your reactions of seeing the reading online of your winning short script.
You know, Matthew, and I do appreciate it. I thought the readers, the actors did a great job. But one thing that was very obvious to me when I put the short together, I wanted to paint this picture without much dialogue of this stark world and of some impending doom coming from the people entering the house, dragging the man out. And I could see during the reading that that's hard to convey.
Sure,
they did as good a job as they could, but I could see where in a short reading like that you actually might need more dialogue.
Well, yeah, of course, it's not perfect, but we try to set a certain tone, and also the exposition. It's a very it's very much a script that's like more exposition than dialogue. Where I don't think you need to change anything with the script. It's just that you are right. There are certain limitations to the reading and with the script like yours.
Right.
But you're happy with the reading and what thematically what is Men of Color about?
It's really, if you boil it all down, it's about atonement. And you don't get all of that in the short, and the feature that I'm writing now, you actually see more of that. But what we find out is that Deotis Williams, the man who's colored red, he's actually punished for another person's sins. He's not guilty of the crime. And so all throughout, and how we transition to the feature is through that theme of atonement. And so I guess that's what you would say there.
And there's obviously some parallel themes to today's world that you're trying to present in the script.
Yeah, I think the idea actually came about from watching a National Geographic show a couple of years ago, and it was about a water hole in Africa where, as the drought comes in, there are certain times of the year, and the animals are all trying to drink out of one water hole. You see zebra and deer. Antelope at the waterfall or water hole with lions, and I was thinking, an antelope, he doesn't have the ability to say, well, that might be a good lion, so I can drink down here. He just knows that's a cat, and I'm staying away from it. Whereas with humans, one of the things that struck me after that was 10 years ago, a person whose arms were covered in tattoos, you would say that's a bad person. Mm-hmm. But we don't have that luxury anymore today because you don't know if that's a bad person or a good person because everybody wears them. And so where I'm trying to go with this is Men of Color was that. What if we dyed people different colors for proposed or accused sins? What would that do? How would we react? Would we know, okay, that's a bad person, like a antelope knows a lion is a bad person?
Well, yeah, but it's also like you're using the tattoo analogy. Like perhaps that person 10 years ago wasn't a bad person. Like that's sort of like you can't judge what's the cliche? You can't judge a leopard with his cover.
And that's what we're trying to see with Men of Color. These people that were accused of crimes that are dyed colors based on what the severity of the crime is. Are in actuality innocent. All of them are innocent. And so can you judge a man by his color? And then that kind of streams off or takes off on a whole different tangent of racism. And if you notice in the story at the end, one of the things that I really wanted to push through in the screenplay was the fact that they called Deotis, who's normally black before he's dyed red, now they're calling him a redder. And that's just how racism, evolves and where it goes. And so this story is also about racism.
Why did you write this script? Like, is there something personal involved with yourself?
No, I will tell you that I started out when I started my writing career as an author. Some of my earliest books, I'm always been a history buff, were westerns in the genre, but they had to deal with blacks in the West and how they were able to function, or how they had to function after the Emancipation Proclamation. And so it was kind of a natural lead-off of that previous writing I'd done.
Okay, and so, but did you write the feature first or the short first? Because you were saying you were developing a feature right now.
Yeah, I've just finished a 98-page feature in which we then evolved the story even more. And in the short, we just barely mention in the narration about a woman who discovered the ability, to dye people and have it last a certain amount of time. In the feature, that woman regrets that decision, and now she is working with the colors, so to speak, to find a solution that will undye them and permanently. And so that's kind of where the feature is going. There's
a lot of true tales in your story, about the person who invented the atomic bomb. Of course, regrets doing that. It's like the Terminator regretting with a robot. You know what I mean? There's a lot of similar themes. Yeah. Exactly.
And I think that's it's kind of a movie theme that audiences always relate to, because I think in our normal everyday lives we all do things that sometimes we look back and we go, "Wow, I wish I hadn't done that," and so you can relate to that.
It's all about as a society we all want structure, but sometimes it's almost like a theme of taking structure too far, and judging is becoming part of structure.
Right. And I'm American, so one of the things I always say about America that so makes you want to bang your head against the wall is that we never can seem to find that happy middle. We always have to go from one extreme to the other. And I don't know if all peoples are like that in the world, but I know that we as Americans are. We just go to that far edge. We can't stay in the middle.
But you can also say that it's also because there's so many people living in the country. There's over 300 million people, correct? And whereas it's almost like a machine that can't be stopped. Like a freight train takes miles to stop. There's so many people in the United States, say gun control. It would be impossible to just outlaw guns because there's so many people around.
Yeah, and your analogy about the train is just exactly spot on. That's exactly what it is.
Whereas certain countries I was just going to say Canada, there's less people, so it's easy to push things forward. Because but at the same time there's a lot of good things going on in the States as well.
Oh yeah. I mean, and that's what's so frustrating. We have the ability to do such good things, and then we have the ability to also do such stupid things.
I have to point out that as we're doing this podcast, there's still a government shutdown going on, which is getting a lot of attention around the world.
Yes. It's another I don't understand. Of course, one of the problems, some people would disagree with me since we talk about that, is that when you have roughly in our House and Senate 535 people trying to come up with an idea, I mean, there's just too many people. It's just hard to do.
Yeah, exactly. It's a whole can of worms that we can discuss, but let's discuss you wrote another feature that you said is ready for production?
Yeah, my first feature was actually based on a novel I wrote called Long-Term Parking, a noir novel, kind of a detective in modern day, but he's like a 40s, a private eye. And it's being produced by Paul Bright Films out of New York, which is, it's an indie film, but I'm very pleased and happy to have my first feature, being filmed. It actually starts production December 2nd in Texas.
Well, congratulations. And I know Texas is a big state. Are you going to go up to the set and check it out?
Yeah, I'm allowed on December 2nd through the 14th. I can come around, and they're going to film in Dallas, Austin, and San Antonio.
And what's that? Is it just it's like a detective story?
It's kind of again another one of those I'm hoping makes you think, but it's a story of a private eye that's killed by the mob because he's messing into mob business. He's accidentally buried with a dog that had been coming onto a mob parking lot where they buried bodies. The dog was a bloodhound, could smell the death. So he's buried with the dog, and when he arrives in heaven, he's part man, part dog. He's hired as a bounty hunter to go back to Earth and find these bad guys. And so you can imagine all the fun you can have with all the dog jokes, with a private eye that is part.
But there's one thing that I've learned, though, through the years. People love dogs.
Yeah, exactly.
So there's an actual dog as the main character? How are they working that in the story?
Well, they've showed me what they went with was ears, feet, and a tail, and then the rest of him looks human.
Okay. All right, so I'm trying to put that image in my head. It's almost like Wilford or something, that TV show where...
Yeah, I think you could say that probably, but I will say I wrote this long before Wilford.
Yeah. No, it's a good idea. And this one, Metacolor, if that one works well, it works, then Metacolor will be made into a film.
I'm hoping. I just think that Metacolor, of course, you never know, but it has that concept. I think that when people read it, you pick up exactly that. This is a concept I think that everybody can understand. It's not like Wilford or something like that.
Yeah.
A few people may watch it, or a certain percentage watch it.
So it's got like the mass appeal. You're always looking for the mass. Even as a novelist, I assume you're looking for the mass appeal, the mass audience.
Yeah, because even with novels, and so much so in movies. For a long time in novels, you had, especially with kids, you had boys would read boys' books and girls would read girls' books. And then when Stephanie Meyer writes Twilight, suddenly boys are reading girls' books and girls are reading boys' books. And so you double your audience. And so you're wanting that mass appeal. So you include as many people as possible to buy tickets.
Oh, okay. It's sort of like, I guess the better, like, I don't know a boy who ever read Twilight, but I think the better one is Hunger Games, I guess. Wouldn't that be a better analogy?
Yeah, that, to me. And why I say Twilight is because I have a 20-year-old son that never would read, and he read all the Twilight. Loved it.
Oh, then I apologize for saying that then.
No, it's okay, because I think a lot of boys actually did, and it just shows you, again, I think what goes on with cultures, and you have a shift in culture that basically tells a boy, hey, you don't have to read just guy stuff and westerns and fighting and that. You can actually read this kind of stuff, and to me, it's okay, just so long as you're reading something.
But speaking of Twilight, though, which is generally it's kind of a romance thing. Is there a love triangle in your 40s dog film noir movie?
There is. The daughter or the niece of the mob boss that he's coming back to hunt, she has got a love-hate relationship with him. And then when he's in heaven, he actually morphs back and forth between the two. When he's in heaven, one of the secretaries for the gentleman he works for in heaven is also in love with him, and she's forced to send him back. And how he moves back and forth is they have to kill him. And so he's shot in heaven, goes back to Earth. He's killed on Earth, and he's back in heaven. And so it's kind of hilarious, really.
Oh, I'm looking forward to seeing the movie. And Mike, congratulations. Like I said, I was telling you before we did this that my editor who edits the stuff together, he loved this short script. He was very enamored with it, and he says it's like one of the better ones that we've done.
Oh, very kind. Very kind. I appreciate it.
And looking forward to hopefully seeing more of your work in the future at the festival. Before I leave you, I just want to ask you a question. What is your, give me your influences. What are your top 3 movies of all time?
Well, The Shawshank Redemption just is, I just love how that movie is put up, from the characters to the theme and the ending. It's just, to me, it's a perfect movie. And then you go back. I mean, I love some of the old-timey. I still watch them. The Marx Brothers, I love all their stuff. Humphrey Bogart and Casablanca and those types of films that just had a lot of influence on me. And so some of those are some of my great films. But, you know, I grew up in a time period where you went to the movies, and you went on a Saturday as a kid, and we could stay in the movie and watch it 4 times if we wanted. They didn't run you out back then. And so I love all the movies.
And where can people get some of your novels, your past novels? Where can they buy it online somewhere?
Yeah, you can find them at Amazon, Barnes and Noble, you know, all the normal places where you get novels. For electronic readers, most people buy them at Amazon.
And how many novels have you written?
I've written 10.
Well, good for you. And now you're moving into the motion picture industry, I assume.
Yeah, I actually stopped writing novels about 2 years ago because I just wanted to see if I could do this, and it seemed like the demand for streaming content is going to be, well, it's huge now, but it's just going to grow by leaps and bounds, and especially with all the devices that you can stream, you know, media on. So I wanted to just see if I could do that.
And as you know, like a novel, like a movie's like a novel. Like if it's good, it stands the test of time. It's a gift that keeps on giving. Like where it crosses generations. Like as you described Casablanca, like they'll be watching that movie even 100 years from now.
Oh, absolutely.
And I think that we all want to like kind of leave something behind, I guess, right?
I think so. I think that's kind of in our DNA, all of us.
Well, Mike, congratulations again. I really enjoyed doing this script, and keep in touch and tell us what you're up to, and let us know when that film is completed and where it's showing down the line.
Okay. Thanks, Matthew.
Thank you.